it's so hard to believe, but we are coming to the realization that nearly half of the women in Uganda who are currently pregnant are saying that they did not intend to get pregnant. Excuse me. Wait, what? Yes, nearly half of the women in Uganda who are currently pregnant, a whole 48% of them are saying that they did not intend to get pregnant.
You know why that is?
Why?
Because 4 out of every 10 pregnancies are teenage mothers.
Oh, 4 out of
10.
10.
So if 10 women are pregnant, 4 of them are teenagers.
So that's like 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
That's okay. So there obviously there was no intention of getting pregnant.
No intention whatsoever.
And then they got pregnant, and so 9% out of those end up performing unsafe abortions, which is why a lot of people are in support of decriminalizing abortion so that those who seek it can do it safely.
Yes. Because also abortion is criminalized, but on the pretext of religion. And if you're going to make a law, you should not rely on religion to make that law, because not everyone is religious or not everyone worships the same God as you.
But here's the thing. I am an atheist. I have no religion. And yet still,
you find it disgusting?
I disagree with abortion on ethical grounds because I believe that a baby is a human life. Once you have conceived, that is a human life, you know. Have you not heard of when a pregnant woman is let's say is injured, okay, let's say is assaulted, and then the baby dies? The man is charged with murdering the baby.
Yeah, that's true.
So in other words, the baby is being treated as a human being.
But you see, we treat babies, when a woman conceives, we will treat that as a baby. And indeed, science has proven, the Bible, whatever you believe in, has proven that there is a life growing on the inside of you. But for me, the contention is we limit men when it comes to these things. Men and women, especially men, will say that it is wrong for someone to have an abortion. But at the same time, those men are not going to support these babies when they are born. So what am I saying? If someone gets pregnant and they do not want to carry that child to full term, why are we using religion? Why are we using religion to say it is wrong because the Bible says so? But at the same time, we are not going to use the same religion to take care of these women or these babies when they are born.
Obviously, I think in dealing with a problem, it's always good to go to the source of it, to the genesis of the problem. And in this case, it's either lack of information about birth control options, which would prevent conception from taking place.
I would like to believe that there has been enough education. I mean, ask any girl above 10, above 15 about family planning. I'm sure they've heard of something. I don't know. When it comes to teenage pregnancies, I would not even blame birth control, because according to the statistics of the girls that got pregnant during the pandemic, most of these girls were between 12 and 13. So those girls are not going to be interested in birth control because they are being molested. They did not even plan to have the sex to begin with.
What about the birth control options that are post-coital?
I mean, if you're defiling a girl, will you give her money to buy Postina or anything else?
If she either reports to police or goes to the clinic or the elders or the authorities, is there no recourse she has?
Normally, when someone reports a rape case, the first things they will give them prophylaxis, and then they will also give them birth control. But how many people go and report these cases? But then going back to the women that now have sex knowingly, if they do not want to have the babies, must we force them to have the babies? That's the big question.
Well, I don't think forcing is the thing to do. I would not recommend forcing, but I would recommend persuading.
When you criminalize abortion, it means that you're forcing them to be mothers.
Well, I'm saying that if I knew of a woman who was planning an abortion, let's say it wasn't even my child, but I just knew that some lady wanted to go get an abortion, I would say to her, hey, but do you really have to? Maybe you shouldn't. I'm not going to stop you or report you, but maybe think about the child. Like, I would try to convince her of the reasons why she ought to keep it. Because do you know what? How many stories have you heard of women who feel haunted by
Those are many.
The abortion. Where years down the road, you're having nightmares. You're seeing ghosts. You're seeing faces in your dreams.
That's true.
Of the child that was lost. And at the time, either it could have been done in haste, or perhaps one might have felt there was no other option. But then it's funny how years down the road, some people look back and say, Kali, you know what?
I almost.
Yeah, so what about the ones where the mother was stopped just before conducting the procedure? And you see this on Twitter sometimes, people saying, well, I thank my mom for changing her mind.
Oh, dear. You see why people were so infuriated when Kanye West said that Kim Kardashian considered aborting North.
Yes.
Because this sometimes is not information you want your child to know. How would you feel knowing that your mother almost got rid of you? And sometimes for selfish reasons, things like, I don't want to spoil my body, not health reasons.
I don't want my boobs to
sag, yes.
Oh my gosh.
So for me, I would first of all dissuade a girl who wants to get to get an abortion. I may not necessarily go with the baby first. I will go with her health, because most young women, like this report says, they have unsafe abortions. And this is going to affect you in the long term. Sometimes you may not be able to have children of your own, or you may even die.
That's
so
true.
I will talk to this girl and be like, are you sure this is the best course of action? Because this is what is likely to happen. And of course, I will start with the baby. Because I feel like if someone wants to have an abortion and you start with the baby, at that point, they're not really talking about thinking about the baby. They're thinking about themselves.
That's true.
So go with something that is helping them first.
I know a very famous case of an unintended pregnancy.
Uh-oh.
Have you ever heard of a woman called Mary, who used to live in Israel?
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
She was supposed to get married to somebody called Joseph.
Yes, of Bethlehem.
She was engaged to be married.
Was it Joseph of Nazareth? Yes.
Something like that. Well, anyway, she informed him that she had already conceived, and the man was shocked, and he was going to just end the whole engagement. So that was an unintended pregnancy. An angel came to her in a dream, Gabriel, I think, and said, hey, you're going to be a mother. And
because
as far as we know from historical record,
yes,
Mary had to have been somewhere between 15 or 16.
Actually, something I read as recent as yesterday was saying that she was between 13 and 14. These were teenagers.
Because that's when girls used to get married those days, right?
I also heard that Prophet Muhammad married...
let's not go there. End of discussion.
Why? Because we fear our Muslim brothers. Okay.
I ain't saying nothing about that.
So why can you speak about Christians and you can't speak about Muslims?
Because let's just say there's different rules.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, so it's interesting. So in antiquity, we had, younger females, pre-adult females conceiving and getting married. And yet today we will look upon such things as not being right. So I don't know. And so even as the majority or a good number of the unintentional pregnancies in this country currently are as a result of teenage girls who were molested, it's really, what do you do? Should the children, once they have been conceived, should they not be born? Or do you think because they were conceived in the form of, or under the guise of a crime, a criminal act, which molestation or defilement is, that therefore it justifies getting rid of them?
No, children should be born. Abortion should solely lie on the shoulders of the person who is pregnant. Now, if they're children, honestly, they can't decide for themselves. And if you are the parent of this child that has become pregnant, I would advise you to actually just walk with them and help them to have a safe delivery. Don't take your kids to have abortions because, first of all, they're very young. I'm sure even their uteruses, I don't know much of science, but I believe that you could affect them by...
Is it a risk to their lives?
It is a risk.
If you're 11 years old and you've conceived, surely carrying a baby to term
is already a risk to your life. So if you want to add abortion to that, you may be just adding, salt to a wound.
Damn. Anyway, so as a community, as a society, we need to come together and to prevent that from happening in the first place. Because I think, to me, that's the most tragic aspect. It's one thing to, for an elective pregnancy where, or at least you get pregnant when you're above the age of consent, when you're an adult and you can make your own decisions. But when you're a child and you're impregnated, I feel like that is just a tragedy of unspeakable proportions.
It is.
Because you're just left to contemplate very difficult decisions.
Imagine in Ginger, there is a 15-year-old grandmother.
Grandmother?
Yes.
How is it possible to be a 15-year-old grandmother?
So she could have had her baby at around 11, and then the baby herself grew up, and now she's a grandmother. I don't even know how this works.
Wait. Seriously. I don't think that's biologically possible.
It is possible. Girls can get pregnant at 8 years of age.
Okay, so she gets pregnant at 8 years, and she gives birth, and when that child is 8 years, also gives birth.
Yes.
So
you look up the story. It's there. It is in Ginger.
Damn. Okay. You know what? This country, is just a big mess. But anyway, we hope for a much better future for the children of Uganda. You're listening to the Fatboy Show on RX Radio. Don't go anywhere.